Happy New Year. Thank you. Good morning. This is Mike Tillis, and welcome to the first meeting of the Manistee County Commission 2017.
It'll be in your ear.
You got tired of
You might be right.
No, I've got to watch this.
Well, that's at the end here, I
What's that called a ride?
Call the meeting to order. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Birch, would you give us the invocation, please?
Father in heaven, as we begin a new year, we ask that you guide and instill in this new board the principles of cooperation, consideration, and agreement. And guide this board to focus on doing their best, to do the right thing for the right reason for the people of Manistee County. All this we ask in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
The next item is the oath of office. Today we have a guest here to swear in one of our county commissioners by special assignment by the State Court Administrative Office. Judge Bronson, if you would like to swear in.
Yes, well, thank you. It's a pleasure to once again appear before the board. I see some faces that I know from previously on the board, and I see some new faces on the board, and I've been assigned, called out of retirement and assigned as acting circuit court judge to administer the oath of office. So I can tell everyone here, this will be easier than a criminal sentencing, shorter than a criminal sentencing. So Peg, if you will stand, raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution of this state,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Manistee County Commissioner, District 7,
of the office of Manistee County Commissioner, District 7,
in and for the County of Manistee
in and for the County of Manistee
and the State of Michigan,
and the State of Michigan,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Judge Baxter. If everyone else would stand and raise your right hand, I'll swear the rest of the word in. Please repeat after me. I do solemnly swear or affirm
solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
That I will faithfully discharge the duties
I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Manistee County Commissioner
of the office of Manistee County Commissioner
in and for the county of Manistee
in and for the county of Manistee,
and state of Michigan,
the state of Michigan,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
We're just gonna sign these right away while we can. Yes, I took rough things.
Class. Hope you all passed.
So I get you all a copy, certified copy. And we'll take roll call now. Commissioner Bonsor?
Present.
Commissioner Bergstrom?
Here.
Commissioner Dunn?
Here.
Commissioner Goodman?
Here.
Commissioner Jakers?
Here.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Here.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Here.
I'm looking for a motion for approval of the meeting agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Could I just make one comment before you vote on that? There is a letter that we received at the last minute after the agenda prepared from Northwest, or Networks Northwest, asking that Mr. Parks be reappointed for, we can either do that today or you can do that at your January meeting. If you don't want to change the agenda today. It's up to you. We can just wait. Then it'll be officially on the agenda.
Do we need to amend the agenda?
If you do it, you need to amend the agenda to include that.
I'll make a motion to amend the agenda to allow consideration for that amendment.
I'll second.
Okay, and then Mr. Schaefer, is your motion to approve the agenda with the amendment?
Yes.
Stands. Mr. Schmidt, your second. All in favor? Next is the board chairperson term of office. I'll just read what's on the agenda here. It says Public Act 392 of 2000 amends Section 3 of Public Act 156 of 1851, specifying the chairperson of the County Board of Commissioners shall be elected each odd-numbered year to serve a 2-year term unless the County Board of Commissioners provides by resolution that the chairperson shall be elected annually for a 1-year term. In January 2003, the Manistee County Board of Commissioners took action to elect its chairperson on an annual basis. In January 2005, the board took action to comply with Public Act 392 of 2000 and elect the chairperson to serve a 2-year term of office. In January 13 and January of 2015, the board took action to elect its chairperson on an annual basis. If the board wishes to continue with a 1-year chairperson, if the board continues to with a 1-year chairperson term, a resolution will be needed to adopt which indicates its determination to elect the chairperson for an annual 1-year term in accordance with Public Act 392 of 2000. If the resolution is not adopted, the chairperson shall be elected for a 2-year term of office. So we currently have a 2-year term of office, and if you adopt a resolution for 1 year, then that would change that. Is there a motion to either adopt a 1-year resolution or continue as is?
I'll make a motion to adopt a 2-year term, and at this point, do you?
You don't need-
Well, we don't need a motion if it's the 2-year.
Oh, okay.
I would make a motion for a 1-year term.
support? No support, that motion will die. And therefore will continue as a 2-year term provided by Public Act 392 of 2000. Okay, I will now open up nominations for the 2017 board chairperson. Are there any nominations?
I nominate Jeff Downs for the chair.
I'll support that.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Nominations are now closed. Commissioner Botzer?
Yes.
Commissioner Bergstrom?
Yes.
Commissioner Dance?
Yes.
Commissioner Goodman?
Yes.
Commissioner Jakers?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
7-0.
Thank you.
Tab over here.
Let me see here, we are at,
Congratulations.
yeah, well, thank you again for your support, and looking forward to a new term for everyone and new members on the board, it's all good. With having said that, let's move on to election of board vice chair. Okay, is there support for?
I'll support that.
Motion support for Mr. Schaefer for vice chair. Is there any other nominations? We'll close nominations. Clerk, will you be good enough to call the roll?
Commissioner Bergstrom?
Yes.
Commissioner Dance?
Yes.
Commissioner Goodman?
Yes.
Commissioner Jakers?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Botzer?
Yes.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
And that is, just so you all are aware, that's just for 2017 statute.
Okay, we gotta do, I do have to back up a second. We got to, no, I guess, let's see, election of board chairperson. Gotta go to, okay, schedule, 2017 board meeting, dates and times.
Provided each of you with a calendar of the board meeting dates if they were to stay as you had them in 2017, which is the third Tuesday of each month, except for April and October, which are moved to the fourth Tuesday for some equalization purposes. It gives equalization an extra week to get some things done that they need to get done, get things from the townships. There's apportionment in October and equalization in April, and so it's been common practice to move that to the fourth Tuesday. Common practice has been that all the meetings start at 9 a.m., but you're under no obligation to keep the same dates, the same days, or the same times. So I just provided you with the dates as they are now.
I make a motion to accept the dates.
Motion, is there support?
I'll support that.
Support. Any further discussion?
I just would like to bring up that, I would like us to consider maybe possibly on occasion having an evening meeting, just to allow probably more of the public to attend if possible. Just like everybody can continue to consider that.
If you'd like to make a motion, that's for it.
I would support that also.
Particular months?
Well, if we did this, maybe in the summer months, if people are available. I think, maybe this is August.
I would mention also that I think that having a consistent schedule is important, so if we're going to have evening meetings, I would suggest that we do that on a few occasions, not just once or twice, to be more available to the public as well.
Maybe on a quarterly basis.
Quarterly basis would be great, and also around budget time might be a nice idea also, so that the public can attend more of the budget meetings.
Just so you know, the actual board meeting dates there's budget discussed during budget time at the board meeting days, but really you schedule, as the budget calendar comes out, you will start scheduling budget study sessions, which will be outside of these normal board meeting dates. And so at that time, usually like in June or May, I'll say, we should probably schedule a budget study session. I'm ready to present some stuff to you. And usually then that meeting is scheduled, and you could schedule those at night if you wanted to. But right now, these are just for basically the 12 meeting dates. Those will all be posted all at once unless you say, so. Normally, we would, after this meeting, we'll post the 12 meeting dates, the January through December. So if you decide to have some night meetings, it'd be nice for you to do that today. That-
So like April, July, and October, those would be in quarters. My only thought is that our city council meetings are
Same
the
time.
third, yeah.
Right.
So when I speak about evening, I think more about so that we can have the opportunity for staff to be here without making them come back, that's one thing. And then the public, I'm thinking maybe 4 or 5 o'clock, early enough so that people can attend. Thoughts on that? I'm not talking about 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. Straddling the post a little bit so that we could have staff not having to do overtime or extra hours and opening up to the public as well.
I would like to look at a different week in April. I will be out of town on the 25th. In the evening. I can make it in the morning, but not the evening.
I'm just wondering if we ought to test the waters, let's say 2 meetings of this calendar year, see how it goes. This has been done in the past where when I first got on the board back in '94, something I pushed for was getting some evening meetings. And there really was no difference in attendance from the public from what we saw during the daytime meetings. No reason not to try it again.
Can you recall when these were held?
I'm gonna guess it was probably 96, 97, 98, somewhere in there.
No, I mean, like,
Oh, you mean, oh, no.
I'll just tell you that, I know someone mentioned summer. My guess is that if you did it in July, those are probably months when you might have less attendance because it's light till 10 o'clock at night. People are not interested in coming to a meeting when it's 80 degrees outside. You might be better off doing it like in the spring or the fall months, or late summer or something like that.
How about May and September? See how those two go. Would that work for a trial?
I
And then
would
next year?
I would still suggest that we try 3, just to give the public an opportunity, and I really like the idea of a 5 o'clock meeting. It gives working people a chance to get out of work and be able to be here, and hopefully we shouldn't be here too late either.
Oh, we have meetings sometimes that can be quite late. We had 3 or 4 hour meetings. But just my 2 cents worth, is I'm on committees that meet at night, and we do the schedule, we even go up around the county. We have no more participation then than we do when we have it right here. So I'm with Jeff, but I don't care, if you wanna do it, it's fine. We can try it, but I don't think we can get many more people.
well, I hear that, I respect that, in the city, of course, I go to the meetings, those city meetings are packed, but I just wanted to provide that opportunity, being a little bit more accessible. So if we give up a few meetings in a year, to just kind of.
Doesn't hurt to throw that olive branch out there for the public and see how it's attended. And if it's well received, then, next year's another year and we can schedule a couple more. The only thing that I would say, you always keep in mind of your staff, that's support staff also, Tom's office.
We'll be here whenever you need us. It doesn't matter.
We want to be careful about the overtime and stuff like that.
The people that you will have at board meetings are gonna be salaried people. You're not gonna have many hours of people. I mean, yeah, would we have Julie here because of technology or whatever, maybe, but for the most part, it's gonna be the county clerk, myself, the equalization director, maybe Lisa, whose salary, Rob, Russ. We don't get paid any more or any less if you have us here at night.
Could we tentatively pick 3 days now?
I think we need to.
I have-
Absolutely. That's what we need to do.
I have some evening meetings, committee meetings, so I'd like to check my schedule and make sure I could attend our board meetings too.
It would be best if you scheduled all 12 of your meetings now, and then if you need to change any of them, you can change them. But if you've got some dates you know are not good, it would be nice to know now. We post them now, the newspaper will publish them, we'll put them on our website. People want to know, usually they're published in advance for the whole year.
I would recommend that we do March, May, and September.
Second that.
So same dates but evenings, right?
5 o'clock.
So your motion then would be to have all the meetings on the third Tuesday of each month, with April and October the fourth Tuesday, all beginning at 9 o'clock in the morning, except for March, May, and September would start at 5 o'clock. So that would be
Correct.
just so we know. Okay.
I already have a motion and a second on the floor for the current proposed schedule.
So make the motion.
Mr. Schmidt?
You want to amend that?
I can amend it to, March, did you say May and September? Change the time to 5.
Mr. Bergstrom?
Mark, you want to support that amendment?
I'm sorry, what was it again?
Support the amendment for March, May, and September, starting at 5 PM on the calendar?
I'll do it.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. All right. Consideration of adopting the rules and procedures for the 2017 calendar year.
After reviewing the rules and regulations, I see no need for immediate change.
I see something that needs to be addressed. With the board chairperson term of office determination, if you look at page 16, it's actually the opposite of what we just adopted within the board rules, and after reviewing the state law and discussing it with Mr. Kaminsky, I would move that we change the board rules on, let's see, it's on page 16. It says in section A that, let's see, said officers shall hold their respective offices for a term of 1 year or until their successors are duly elected and qualified as set forth above, or a resolution is adopted at the organizational meeting for a 2-year term concurrent with the election cycle and state statute. I would just move that we amend the rules to be in compliance with the state statute.
That's wrong. That was pointed out to me by the sponsor, and that's not right. I don't know why we put that in there that way. Maybe, that may have been in there way for years and years. We can make that change.
But Rick, would you like to change your motion to, with the amendment?
Yeah.
I'm still reading this and kind of looking at this again. You know, it allows for that 1-year term, but at the same time, if you go for the stuff above it, it does direct that the board itself has its options. So I don't.
What it should say is that in compliance with Public Act, whatever, 392, I think it is, the board chair shall be elected for a 2-year term unless the county board adopts a resolution to make it a 1-year term. Something along those orders.
Yes.
And because right now, that's not what it says. It says 1 year unless you adopt a resolution, the opposite, and that's not correct.
I don't want to tie into only having a 2-year term available.
Correct. Are you clear on that?
Yes, but I have a motion that started by Brooke, I didn't have a second, and then Ms. Spencer brought up the motion.
I'll second it.
Whose
No,
motion
we
is
have, Brooke
this?
has to adjust.
I will make my
Okay.
motion to make the appropriate corrections to the verbiage and the procedures
To reflect state statute.
to reflect state statute.
Thank you. And who is the second?
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion?
It's rules, I would say we should do roll calls.
Clerk, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Goodman?
Yes.
Commissioner Jakrish? Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Batzer?
Yes.
Commissioner Bergstrom?
Yes.
Commissioner Dents?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got committee assignments. There is one specific change, with Ms. Botzer on public safety and pull Mr. Schaefer off of public safety. So please make note of that. There, I believe. It's through there.
Oh, there's three.
All right, yeah. Okay. Other than that, basically all the assignments pretty much stayed the same. Let's see. Welcome to chairing personnel.
I just saw that. Yep.
Well, the committee assignments, Tom, you want to elaborate
What
on this?
what
We
will
need to be
happen?
flexible.
What will happen after this meeting now, probably this week, you will get calls from Julie's trying to schedule your first committee meeting. Some of the assignments, the standing committees are what my office is really kind of gonna be calling you about. The other meetings, if you're on the health board, or if you're, some of them either very seldom ever meet, or some of them will meet regularly, like, for instance, Central Wellness, well, Central Wellness isn't a good example. Public Health, for instance, if you're on Public Health, I will notify Public Health, District 10, who's assigned. They will in turn, I will give them all your contact information, they will in turn send you information on when their meetings are. They may not have those even set for 2007. There are no meetings, no committee meetings set. Everything, nothing's posted, nothing's set, so we will be calling you on standing committees and saying, let's have our first meeting. The last thing in your committee meeting then will be to set the meeting dates for the full year. And then that'll be according to everyone's schedule. So, we don't go by last year at all.
Okay, we need to go to consideration of resolution of authorization for the county use of various financial institutions in 2017. And this resolution is requested by the treasurer.
Have there been any changes from last year?
Yes, there are a couple of banks that, Russ isn't here, as you know. There were a couple of banks that Russ took off because they were changed, their names were changed. And I think it's Shelby State Bank and Morgan, I don't have the old resolution, but there are a couple that have been changed. And it's mainly, there were just two that he had crossed off and then he put a different name there. So this just allows him the opportunity to use those banks.
I'd like to make a resolution to authorize Russ to use the following institutions: PNC Bank, Huntington Bank, Chemical Bank, West Shore Bank, Shelby State Bank, and investment accounts: PNC Bank, Huntington Bank, Chemical Bank, West Shore Bank, Fifth Third Bank, Mercantile Bank, Flagstar Bank, First Merit Bank, UBS Financial Services, First Empire Securities, Ameriprise Financial Services, MBIA Michigan Class, MILAF Michigan Liquor Asset Fund, Shelby State Bank, and Morgan Stanley.
It's a lot of banking. We have a motion and support. Any further discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Jakrish?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Batzer?
Yes.
Commissioner Bergstrom?
No. And we are unable to abstain. I believe I have a bit of a conflict. I'm voting no.
But you can abstain with the authorization of the chair because of a perceived
can?
conflict.
You can?
So, yes.
Okay, then we'll abstain.
Jill brought that up to me this morning, so.
Oh, really? Okay, great.
So it's okay that he not vote?
Correct. For his clear conscience.
Commissioner Dance?
Yes.
Commissioner Goodman?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're gonna go into adoption of voting rules and procedures. Well, I don't have this opened up in the right program, so what page?
Page 34. This was put together, I believe, when we were appointing the county commissioner in Pearl Cedars, or a while back when we had multiple applicants for road commission. And there's always some discussion on how you whittle that down. And this voting procedure, if you adopt this, will be how you will whittle down multiple applicants. So you should really adopt that voting procedure first, and then start your voting process for boards and commissions. If you want to change this, you can change it too. This is something you've used now for the last couple of years.
Well, motion would be in order to adopt a proposed board appointment voting procedure.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Schaefer, support. Motion by Schmidt. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Batson?
Yes.
Commissioner Bergstrom?
Yes.
Commissioner Dance?
Yes.
Commissioner Goodman?
Yes.
Commissioner Jakich?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're up to the big one here, Local Revenue Sharing Board representative. You know, Mr. Hilliard served that capacity quite well for a number of years, and we need a new replacement, so.
I'll nominate Jeff Downs.
Is there any other nominations?
Can't nominate myself.
I think you can.
I would like to put my name in for revenue sharing based on my experience with EMS and fire, which is the major portion of the process.
Two nominations. Whatever the board wishes, but I certainly support Rick in his effort to serve in that capacity also, so. Any further discussion? Guess, we'll call the roll.
Yep, and you just let me know what name you prefer to nominate. Commissioner Schaefer?
Myself, please.
Commissioner Batson?
Schaefer.
Commissioner Bergstrom?
Downs.
Commissioner Dance?
Schaefer.
Commissioner Goodman?
Schaefer.
Commissioner Jakich?
Dance.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
It's a bipartisan goal again. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Congratulations on your appointment. It's an interesting committee. I was there in the early days. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And thank you for your support and nominations. Okay, that one's done. Manistee County Transportation, Tom gave us a couple options here. Since we have a sitting now county commissioner, Ms. Jankwish, we've got one option. We can put both Brooke and Pauline on the committee for I think 1 year, correct, Todd?
Yes. This is an option that Mr. Strebe mentioned to me, and I think he says it in his email that I attached, you don't have to do it that way, but he thought that was another option for you. It does reduce the term that Ms. Janquish is on the board, because she will more than likely be appointed by the Dial-A-Ride board if you don't do it. So, whatever way you want to do it, that's just an option he provided. I don't know if he talked to you about that at all.
Oh, yeah. That's two city commissioners, right?
Yes, what you'd basically be doing is replacing Mr. Cody's term with Pauline Janquish for one-year terms, and then I'm guessing that Mr. Cody would be appointed by the Dial-A-Ride board for the 3-year term.
So we would need a separate motion for Ms. Janquish to fill the one-year term, and also for Mr. Schaefer for the 3-year term.
No, Mr. Shea, both of those terms would be 1 year.
1 year?
Commissioners.
That was changed a number of years ago because of the fact that the county board wanted at least one sitting county commissioner on the board. And so I think the Dial-A-Ride board changed the bylaws that said if the county board appoints a commissioner, they're on for 1-year terms so that there's always a commissioner. This would just replace it. This would be 2 commissioners.
So you're not gonna really do anything with Roger Cody, you're just gonna do something with Mr. Schaefer and Ms. Janquish?
Yeah, there's only 2 appointments according to Mr. Street.
Still, we need individual motions.
I'll make the motion to appoint this, or do you want it separate?
Yeah, separate motions. yeah.
First, okay. Board.
Okay, support for that? Okay, we have motion support for Ms. Janquish to fill a 1-year term for Manistee County Transportation Dial-A-Ride. Any further discussions? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Botzer?
Yes.
Commissioner Bergstrom?
Yes.
Commissioner Dance?
Yes.
Commissioner Goodman?
Yes.
Commissioner Jakers?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
A little more emphatic there, Pauline.
Confidence buildup. I'll nominate Mr. Schaefer.
Okay, motion, and is there support?
Support.
Okay, a motion and support for Mr. Schaefer to fill a 1-year term on the Manistee County Transportation Dial-A-Ride. Any further discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Bergstrom?
Yes.
Commissioner Dance?
Yes.
Commissioner Goodman?
Yes.
Commissioner Jakers?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Botzer?
Yes.
Okay, that takes us to item D, the airport authority. Comment, we just have one appointment for that today, correct? Or do we need to?
Well, you need to appoint or send back to the city a no on Mr. Peterson as the city's recommendation
Okay.
to sit, and then you have 2 county commissioners, I believe. The bylaws state that Mr. Marshall's position expires because he's no longer a county commissioner, so he has a position that expires normally on 12/31/17, so you need one person, one county commissioner to serve in Mr. Marshall's position for 1 year. And then Mr. Bergstrom's seat is up for a 3-year term. So you need to either reappoint Mr. Bergstrom for 3 years. You have actually 3 options. You have an option to appoint Mr. Bergstrom for 3 years again. You have the option of appointing another county commissioner to serve in his place for 3 years. Or you can say it doesn't have, we don't want it to be a county commissioner, and you authorize the clerk to advertise for the position. The common practice has been for 3 commissioners to sit on that board. Right now, it's Mr.
Schaefer,
Schaefer.
Mr. Bergstrom, currently Alan Marshall,
Right.
is no longer commissioner.
So you have a 1-year appointment, a 3-year appointment, which is Mr. Bergstrom's, and the city recommendation.
Okay, and we have
If you choose not to name Mr. Peterson, then I'm guessing that the practice would be, according to their bylaws, is to send it back to the city and say, re-advertise, we don't like that appointment. Otherwise, I think just a motion to appoint Mr. Peterson would be.
So that, I I just need to clarify in my head. So we would be reducing it to 2 commissioners?
No, Brooks' term is not expired,
Okay, all right.
so there's still 3 on board
And then the open position which Mr. Peterson applied for.
for the city, and then Alan's unexpired term.
Dale Picardi sat in the city for many, many years. He chose not to reapply. So the city appointed Mr. Peterson pending your approval.
Okay.
Then there's the other 2 positions. One is Mr. Bergstrom's position for 3 years. And if in 2 years, Mr. Bergstrom decides not to run for county commissioner, then there would be an appointment for 1 year because his term would technically be up according to their bylaws. If you read the bylaws, that was kind of the way the bylaws were set up.
I went through that, and I guess the appointment was not as a commissioner, or how did it go to 3 years to 1? Was there a change in that?
No, there are,
They amended the bylaws in years.
they amended the bylaws. They are 3-year terms.
Right.
But there's another section in the bylaws that says, if a county commissioner's term as county commissioner expires before the airport authority board term expires, the county commissioner's term on the airport authority will expire on the last day of the county commissioner's term as county commissioner.
That was
So-
an amendment
so-
made to the bylaws of the airport authority previous year. And that was to not have a situation where someone is on the board as a commissioner, but is no longer a commissioner, and could continue to serve through that term. So,
That's the history in town.
I'd like to make the first motion for our persons for a 3-year term.
Motion
I'll second that.
and support for a 3-year term for Mr. Bergstrom. Any further discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Dance?
Yes.
Commissioner Goodman?
Yes.
Commissioner Jakers?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Batson?
Yes.
Commissioner Bergstrom?
yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
And now we have this unexpired term for replacing Mr. Marshall for one person for a 1-year term. This is a position I personally would like to have. It's in the district I represent, and it's a position I wanted to serve in the capacity of a number of years. And being a former frequent flyer, strong interest in it.
I'll make the motion for Jeff Downs to fill the unexpired term of Alan Marshall.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion support for Downs for the 1-year term. Any further discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Goodman?
Yes.
Commissioner Jakers?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Batson?
Yes.
Commissioner Bergstrom?
Yes,
Commissioner Dance?
Yes.
Thank you.
And now we've got the city appointment.
I'll make the motion for Barry Peterson for the city's appointment to the airport authority.
I'll support that. He did attend a couple of meetings, and he has a good background with the rest of the resume, so. And he is recommended by the city.
Okay, we have a motion and support for Barry Peterson for representation of the city for the airport authority. Any further discussion? Okay, clerk, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Jakers?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Batson?
Yes.
Commissioner Bergstrom?
Yes.
Commissioner Dance?
Yes.
Commissioner Goodman?
Yes.
We'll go to the library. We've got Miss Jaffe, who's served in this for a while now, and the only applicant, so this one should be an easy.
Make the motion to appoint Rosalind Jaffe, the library board.
I'll support.
I'd like to say that she filled a non-expired term, I believe, and she's very good. I'm the library liaison, and she's at all the meetings. Very thorough.
Thank you. We've got a motion and support. Any further discussion for Ms. Rosalind Jaffe for the library board? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Batson?
Yes.
Commissioner Bergstrom?
Yes.
Commissioner Dance?
Yes.
Commissioner Goodman?
Yes.
Commissioner Jakers?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, now we get into the interesting one for the road commission. There's a number of existing commissioners and also candidates that are in the audience this morning. I guess this is the time, if you have you'd like to speak to the board, now's your time. So, don't be shy, whoever wants to come up first. Yes, sir, and your name, please?
My name is David Lapointe. Good morning, Commissioners. A little bit about myself. I've been a Manistee County resident for 33 years. I've been in the transportation and logistics business for the last 15. And through my employer, I feel like I've gained a lot of experience to help the road commission with a term for the next 6 years. With the things I believe the road commission are gonna weather in the next 6 years, I believe one of them is gonna be maintenance costs. Given the fact, through the systems that are being installed on trucks to meet the Clean Air Act, this is challenging. This is challenging for not only the business that I'm in, we're trying to figure out ways through networking, through sending staff to training to cut those maintenance costs down. That's our biggest expense overall. Equipment, obviously, is a big thing. Making sure that we're going with the best vendors, getting the best equipment for the job. Amongst that is depreciation, something to consider. Labor, for obvious reasons, making sure that we're meeting the budget through labor, making sure that we're hiring the best qualified people. The one thing I want to see, and I think that the road commission does a decent job on, is transparency. I've had the opportunity to look at other road commissions, Grand Traverse County, Benzie County, and I believe we fit the criteria for being transparent, but I do feel that through reading the paper and through reading minute notes through the newspaper, that there could be a little better job in what the road commission is doing on an annual basis. That's the biggest thing that when I was pursuing this position and talking to people, that they wanted to know what projects are going on. Is the road commission going out applying for grants, which is very key in helping with the budget. I know the city of Manistee, on the board that I used to be on, the Harbor Commission, we were very adamant on pursuing grants, and I believe that does help. And last but certainly not least, fiscal responsibility, just making sure that our dollars are going where they need to be for the citizens of Manistee County. And in closing, I just wanted to let you know that I will listen, which is a crucial to any position of public service, and represent the people of Manistee County to the best of my ability. I feel that my experience in the transportation industry, along with my training and desire to ensure that people have a voice and have a responsible individual representing them on the board. I know these meetings are during the day. This was a topic point earlier in the meeting that being able to attend those meetings for working people is difficult. My employer supports that attendance. I reached out to them before I applied, and they were very supportive of me attending. So I'd like to thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. LaPointe. Any questions for him? Thank you.
Thanks.
Next.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name's Todd Humphrey. I've been in the Comish area. My family has lived in Bear Lake area since 1881. I've been a proud member of the local 324 operating engineers for 28 years now. And I've built a lot of airports, roads, shopping centers, some here in the community. My company worked at the airport. When they extended the runway, we built a new high school site out here west of town, or south of town. I've been on the township board in Cleon now for 16 years, as well as the planning commission. And I've been attending the road commission meetings now for the last year and a half, 2 years. I do have a vast knowledge of how to build roads, what it takes, what the equipment is, and what the personnel is needed. I do believe that the road commission should be in the business of road maintenance and not road building. Leave that to the lowest bidder because they have the equipment and the better personnel. And thank you very much for the opportunity to apply for this position.
Any questions for Mr. Humphries? Thank you. Next up.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Yates.
My name is Bob Yates, and essentially I put my application in for road commission. I've always had an interest in that direction, both from a organizational perspective, operational perspective, and last but not least, the finance side of it. I was a small business owner for approximately 40 years, and so essentially I've been interested, but I've stayed away from the politics of the operation of the road commission. I no longer maintain a business, and as a result would like to serve on the road commission. Again, I was a small business owner for approximately 40 years. I think I have a sense for what the population would like to see from a educational perspective. I have a degree in accounting as well as finance, so I do think I can be relatively analytical as far as financials and whatnot. And so essentially, there were some concerns about, in the application, I will be gone for the month of March and part of April. I've already discussed assuming that airlines are cooperative. It's my intention to fly home for meetings that, because I recognize that quorums are essential in the operation of the road commission. I've served on enough boards locally to know that it's a problem, and I would certainly expect to be back for those to relieve that condition. That's the extent of, I guess, what I would have to say.
Any questions for Mr. Yates? Thank you, Robert. Good morning, Ms. Huger.
Hi, I'm Annie Hogarth, and I am an incumbent. And I really think that those 6 years were quite good, the way we have been working together. And we have made a lot of changes. We are very cognizant of what the road commission need and the issues before it. We have been trying to work together very well, the 6 of us, or the 5 of us, for the last 6 years. And I think it is very important that we have people that understand that we are handling the taxpayers' dollars. That's very important to me, because I don't think we can just casually buy and spend money. We have to be very careful how the taxpayers' dollars are expended. And we need to make sure that the safety of the traveling public is always at our fingertips. We need to make sure that those roads are safe. And that is what we have been doing. So I am I have a good insight in what the road commission needs. I have served very effectively, I think, and I have also served on other boards, like I am still on the Community Mental Health Board, done that for 9 years, very cognizant of what we need over there for the people that we serve. So I've been in service for a long, long time, and I like to continue this with the blessing of the commissioners. So thank you very much for having faith in me, and I will make sure that things go well.
Any questions for Ms. Huger?
Can you talk about some of your achievements while you've been in service of the road commission?
Absolutely. We have always checked budgets, stay in budget. So, because there was lots of times that we have projected shortage of money, and we have always been able to work that out. Money is very important, and we have always made sure that we had equipment, new equipment. So that's very important to us too, that it good equipment on the road, and that our people that do the work have the tools to do this. So I think, and the safety issues, I think we have been pretty safe, because we haven't had a lot of lawsuits. Everything has gone very well. And I'm good at networking also, so I've gone to a lot of conferences, and I have made sure that I know who works around us in this area and what the issues are over there and what we can use from and learn from their experiences. So it's very important that you know other people that are in the same business.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Russell.
For those of you that don't know me, my name is James Russell. I've lived in Manistee County all my life, Marola Township. I grew up on a dairy farm, worked as a heavy equipment operator for 5 years, worked for the U.S. Forest Service for 9 years, worked for McCormick Sawmill for 27 years as a forester and timber buyer, own and operate a timber brokerage, owned Jim's Guns and Rifle Ranges for 26 years with public rifle ranges. I have I have a federal firearms license and a federal ammunition manufacturing license. I served just 2 months short of 16 years on the road commission. I've been 10 plus years in Manistee County Fair Board. I started the Adopter Road in Manistee County. I had the first rumble strips put on in Manistee County. I would like to continue serving the people of Manistee County. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Russell? Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Is Mr. Gerben in the audience? I guess now we come to the not so fun stuff of the road commission appointment process. Would you like to add your 2 cents for the voting?
Do I want to? Well, the top vote getter has to get at least 4 votes in order to go through to the next round, do we want to say?
Well, it takes 4 to be appointed.
Right, it takes 4 to be appointed, and there's 2 rounds of voting, and then we have an elimination process that we will get to if we need to.
Okay, I guess two voice or 2 names as called upon.
I think we should do 1 term at a time.
1 term at a time. All right.
That's usually how we do that.
All right.
Okay, so if you give me your name of your top nominee. Commissioner Schaefer,
Russell.
Commissioner Botzer,
Humphrey.
Commissioner Bergstrom,
Well, first of all, I just want to say I'm impressed with the amount of interest in serving on the road commission. I think that speaks well of our county. I think everyone is pretty qualified. It's really a hard decision. I'm comfortable with the current incumbents, but I'm impressed by some of the new applicants. So it makes a decision really, really difficult. I'm not one to throw folks out if they're doing a good job, so I'm going to go with okay.
Commissioner Dodds,
Russell.
Commissioner Goodman,
I think Commissioner Bergstrom put it eloquently. I would vote for Hogarth.
Commissioner Jakrish,
Russell.
Commissioner Schmidt,
I'll go with Hogarth.
no one's received 4 votes.
You know, though, if I could just interrupt for a second, I think these rules, the voting procedure, says by a roll call vote, each member of the board will choose and vote for the required number of individuals. to fill the vacant position or positions. If on the first vote, one or more applicants receive the required 4 or more votes, that individual or individuals will be appointed to the board, commission, or commission being considered. If on the first vote, the required number of individuals do not receive 4 or more votes, the board will then proceed to a second vote. So I think your rules are saying you should have voted for 2. I think, that's just my reading of it. I think that's how we did it in the past. But that's something.
I thought it didn't come into the elimination procedure.
Well, I'm just reading number 3 here. So I don't know if you want to go around it again. I just think, you know, you've got two people here, and
Well, we should follow policy. And if it means 2, then we should do 2.
I think that's what it's saying. I'm not an attorney, but I'm guessing that's what you meant when you adopted those.
Do you want me to read that number 3, Tom? By a roll call vote, each member of the board will choose and vote for the required number of individuals to fill the vacant positions.
Says it right there.
If on the first vote, 1 or more applicants receive the required 4 or more votes, that individual or individuals will be appointed to the board commission being considered. If on the first vote, the required number of individuals do not receive 4 or more votes, the board will then proceed to a second roll call vote. So the
Need a redo.
2 vacant positions. So do you want to just
Yeah, let's-
have them add a second person, or do you want to start?
Let's
from scratch?
let's start with a clean slate. Too much.
Two names.
All right. Commissioner Schaefer,
Russell LaPointe.
Commissioner Boxer,
Humphrey Hogart.
Commissioner Bergstrom,
Again, it's a tough decision. I don't believe in throwing out somebody that is doing a good job. I'm gonna go with Hogart and Russell.
Commissioner Dodds,
I'm gonna go with Russell and Yates.
Commissioner Goodman,
And go with Hogart and LaPointe.
Commissioner Jakrish,
Russell and LaPointe.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Russell and Holger.
Mr. Russell,
4 and Hogart's.
and Ms. Hogart has 4.
Well, congratulations for your reappointment to the road commission board. These aren't fun times when we got to make these decisions from a full slate. And thank you everyone for your applications, and by all means, please re-up again when the next time the opportunity arises. Okay. Thank you. Okay, that takes us up to public comment.
Yeah, you do have one more
We
appointment.
got one more.
Workforce Development Board.
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry. I don't have it on my agenda, and I didn't show it on my agenda. So Networks Northwest. So we would need a motion to appoint Mr. Parks back to the Networks Northwest Board.
I'll make that motion.
I'll support that.
We have a motion support for Mr. Doug Parks to serve as capacity for the Networks Northwest Board. Any further discussion? Hearing none, clerk call roll, please.
And that's a 2-year term, right?
I believe so, that's what the letter says.
Commissioner Boxer,
Yes.
Commissioner Bergstrom,
Yes.
Commissioner Dodds,
Yes.
Commissioner Goodman,
Yes.
Commissioner Jakrish,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we go to public comment. Public comment for anyone who wishes to address the board.
I would like to thank the commissioners for showing me faith in the road commission board. Thank you very much.
As would I. Thank you.
Anyone else? Well,
I would just like to thank all the commissioners for their service in the past few years. I know it doesn't always come at an opportune time, especially as the snow starts flying. Let's get out of Dodge for a few weeks. So, thank you all the commissioners.
Thank you. Anyone else?
And our clerk, by the way.
Entire board.
All right, with that, thank everybody for allowing us to do this on today as opposed to tomorrow. And best wishes for the up and coming year for everyone, and we'll see you at the next board meeting. Thank you. We're adjourned.
I almost ran